Rich society woman humiliates Sandra Bullock at charity gala, not knowing that Keanu Reeves is who? The grand ballroom of his Ritz-Carlton was bathed in golden light, glittering chandeliering off the polished marble floors. It was the annual Hearts of Gold charity gala, an event where the wealthiest and most elite socialites gathered to flaunt their wealth under the guise of generosity. Sandra Bullock, dressed in a sleek black gown, stood near the entrance, scanning the room. She had always believed in giving back, but tonight she was here for another reason. Her dear friend Keanu Reeves had convinced her to attend. "Just come," he had said in his usual calm, reassuring voice. "It'll be fun." Sandra wasn't so sure. As she moved through the crowd, she accidentally bumped into a woman in a shimmering, overpriced designer gown. The woman gasped theatrically, her glass of champagne tilting dangerously before she steadied it. "Oh," the woman sneered, giving Sandra a once-over. "Aren't you that actress? What's your name again?" Sandra smiled politely. "Sandra Bullock. Right, I thought you looked familiar." The woman's lips curled into a smirk. "It's always so cute when Hollywood types try to mingle with real society. But don't worry, dear. Even if your career is well past its prime, I'm sure you'll find something to do." A few bystanders chuckled, some pretending not to hear. Sandra felt her face flush but kept her composure. "I just came to support the charity," she said evenly. "How noble," the woman said, her voice dripping with condescension. "But let's be real, dear. Some people donate millions, and some people just show up." Sandra clenched her jaw. Before she could respond, a familiar voice cut through the conversation. "Is there a problem?" The room seemed to shift. The woman turned, her expression morphing from smug superiority to wide-eyed shock as she saw Keanu Reeves standing there. He was dressed in a classic black suit, his dark hair slightly tousled, a picture of effortless cool. But it wasn't just his appearance that made everyone fall silent. It was his reputation. Unlike the other wealthy attendees, Keanu had always been known for his generosity and humility. He didn't flaunt his wealth, didn't seek attention. But when he spoke, people listened. "Keanu!" The woman's voice wavered. I didn't realize you were here." Keanu ignored her and turned to Sandra, his eyes filled with warmth. "I was looking for you," he said with a small smile. "Ready to go?" Sandra nodded, suppressing a grin. Keanu then glanced at the woman, his expression unreadable. "By the way," he said casually, "I just donated $5 million in Sandra's name. She's one of the most generous people I know. Thought you should be aware." The woman's face drained of color. A murmur spread through the crowd. Sandra, unable to resist, gave a polite nod. "It is cute when Hollywood types mingle with real society, isn't it?" With that, she linked arms with Keanu and walked away, leaving the woman standing there, speechless. As they stepped outside into the cool night air, Keanu turned to Sandra and smirked. "So, still think this wasn't a good idea?" Sandra laughed. "Okay, maybe it was worth it." And with that, they walked off, their laughter echoing into the night. "Hope you like it. Let me know if you want any tweaks." As Keanu and Sandra stepped into the waiting black Rolls-Royce, the city lights of Los Angeles twinkled around them. Sandra exhaled, shaking her head with a grin. "I swear, Keanu, you have this uncanny ability to show up at the perfect moment," she said, slipping off her heels and stretching her toes. Keanu chuckled, leaning back against the plush leather seats. "What can I say? I like dramatic entrances." Sandra rolled her eyes playfully. That woman's face was priceless. She thought she was the queen of the gala, and you shut her down in less than 10 seconds. Keanu shrugged. "People like that don't impress me. Kindness does." Sandra studied him for a moment, admiring how unaffected he was by the glitz and arrogance of the rich. Despite being one of the most successful actors in Hollywood, he had never let fame change him. It was one of the many reasons she cherished their friendship. The car cruised through Beverly Hills, passing luxury boutiques and five-star restaurants. Sandra sighed, gazing out the window. "You know, sometimes these events make me question if charity galas are really about helping people, or just about showing off who has the biggest donation." Keanu nodded. "Some people give for the wrong reasons, but tonight you still made a difference just by being there." Sandra smiled. "And you, Mr. Reeves, made a statement." Keanu smirked. "Well, I couldn't just stand by and let someone treat you like that. Besides," he glanced at her mischievously, It's always fun to watch a bully squirm. Sandra burst out laughing. Remind me to bring you to every awkward social event from now on. Deal, he said. The car pulled up to Sandra's home in the Hollywood Hills. Keanu walked her to the door, hands in his pockets. You sure you don't want to come in? I've got ice cream, Sandra offered. Keanu grinned. Tempting, but I think I'll let you enjoy your victory in peace. Sandra smirked. All right, but next time, the ice cream's on you. He nodded. It's a date. She raised an eyebrow. A friend date. Keanu chuckled. Of course. As he walked back to the car, Sandra leaned against her doorframe watching him go. She knew that no matter how many fake smiles and shallow conversations filled her world, she'd always have a real friend in Keanu Reeves. And that was more valuable than any high society gala. The end. Hope you like the continuation. Let me know if you want more. A twist of fate. The next morning, Sandra Bullock woke up to a barrage of text messages and missed calls. Blinking against the sunlight streaming through her window, she reached for her phone and scrolled through the notifications. Sandra, you're trending. OMG, you and Keanu last night. Epic. Did you see the video? You guys broke the internet. She frowned, still groggy, until she clicked on a link one of her friends had sent. A viral video from the gala played on her screen. Clear footage of the exact moment Keanu Reeves had put that snobby woman in her place. The internet had done what it did best, dissected every second of the encounter, adding captions like, Keanu, the king of humility, and Sandra and Keanu, the ultimate power duo. There were memes, there were reaction videos, there were even dramatic reenactments. Sandra groaned, flopping back against her pillows. Oh, great! Just as she considered throwing her phone across the room, it buzzed with an incoming call. She didn't even check the caller ID before answering. You do realize we've caused a social media meltdown, right? She said instead of a greeting. Keanu's familiar deep chuckle came through the line. Good morning to you too, Sandy. She sat up. Keanu, we're everywhere. There are already fan edits of us walking away from that woman like we're in an action movie. Sounds like the internet had fun, he said, completely unfazed. Sandra shook her head, scrolling through the trending hashtags. Keanu defends Sandra, rich woman who, kindness always wins. And guess what? She continued. Apparently, that woman, her name's Vivian Devereaux, by the way, just released a statement. Oh. Sandra clicked on an article. Let's see. I deeply regret my behavior at the charity gala last night. I allowed my ego to overshadow the true purpose of the evening. And for that, I apologize. I have personally donated an additional $1 million to the charity as a token of my sincerity. Keanu let out an amused sigh. Damage control. Definitely. But hey, at least some good came out of it. Sandra paused. And you, my friend, have once again solidified your status as the internet's favorite person. I don't even have social media, Keanu said, sounding genuinely bewildered. Sandra laughed. Doesn't matter, they love you anyway. A comfortable silence settled between them for a moment before Keanu spoke again. So, what's next? He asked. Sandra thought for a second, then grinned. Well, since we're trending and all, why don't we do something crazy? Keanu chuckled. Define crazy. Let's actually use this attention for something good, a charity event of our own. No overpriced gala, no snobby socialites, just a real effort to help people. Keanu was silent for a moment, then he said, I like it. Let's do it. Sandra grinned. Great. And this time, you're picking the dress code. Keanu laughed. Jeans and t-shirts it is. As they continued talk, planning their next move, Sandra couldn't help but smile. Last night had been an unexpected roller coaster, but maybe, just maybe, it had set something even greater in motion. And with Keanu by her side, she knew it was going to be legendary. To be continued? What do you think? Want to keep going? A new kind of charity event. A week later, Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves found themselves standing in the middle of an abandoned warehouse in downtown Los Angeles. The space was enormous. High ceilings, exposed brick walls, and endless possibilities. So this is it? Sandra asked, turning in a slow circle. Keanu nodded. Yup, it's perfect. She shot him a skeptical look. It looks like something out of a post-apocalyptic movie. Keanu smirked. Exactly. No chandeliers, no five-star catering, no million-dollar gowns. Just a raw space where real people can come together. Sandra folded her arms. All right, Neo, tell me your vision. Keanu grinned. We turn this into a true charity event. No VIP sections, no overpriced tickets. Just a night where people, celebrities, everyday folks, anyone can show up, donate what they can, and actually help. We'll have food trucks, music, activities for kids, maybe a silent auction with meaningful items instead of diamond necklaces no one needs. Sandra tapped her chin, thinking, I like it, but we need a theme. Keanu thought for a moment. Then his eyes lit up. The People's Gala. Sandra snapped her fingers. I love it. It's like flipping the whole high society charity concept on its head. Keanu nodded. And we'll invite everyone, not just celebrities, people from the community, small business owners, even those who need help themselves. It's about inclusion. Sandra grinned. Okay, I'm officially in. Let's do this. The internet reacts. The moment Sandra and Keanu announced the People's Gala, the internet exploded. Fans adored the idea. This is how you do charity right. Take notes, rich snobs. Keanu and Sandra creating an event for everyone. We have no choice but to stan. Finally a gala where I won't have to sell my kidney to attend. Celebrities started reaching out too. Ryan Reynolds tweeted, So, does this mean I can wear my Deadpool suit? Even Vivienne Devereaux, the woman who had insulted Sandra at the first gala, posted on Instagram, I've learned my lesson. Count me in for the People's Gala. Sandra raised an eyebrow when she saw that. Think she's actually changed? Keanu shrugged. Maybe. Or maybe she just doesn't want to be the villain anymore. Sandra smirked. Either way, she better bring a big check. The big night. When the night of the People's Gala finally arrived, Sandra stood backstage, looking out at the crowd. Thousands of people had shown up. Families, students, local business owners, artists, and even some of Hollywood's biggest stars, dressed casually, just like everyone else. The warehouse had been transformed with fairy lights, cozy seating areas, food trucks lined up outside, and a stage where live bands performed. Kids played in a makeshift activity zone and volunteers helped distribute food and supplies to families in need. It was beautiful. Keanu walked up beside Sandra, hands in his pockets. You nervous? She turned to him with a smile. No, this feels right. As the night went on, the event raised millions, not from a few elite donors, but from thousands of small contributions. And more importantly, it built a real sense of community. At one point, Keanu took the stage to say a few words. He didn't make a grand speech, just something simple. Kindness doesn't have a price tag. Thank you all for proving that tonight. The crowd erupted into applause. Sandra watched from the side, a warm feeling in her chest. Maybe they hadn't just thrown a charity event, maybe they'd started something bigger. As Keanu stepped off stage, he gave her a knowing smile. Told you this would be fun. She laughed. Okay, you win. He smirked. So, ice cream to celebrate. Sandra grinned. Only if you're buying. And with that they walked off into the night, side by side, two friends who had just changed the meaning of giving back. The end? Or just the beginning? What do you think? Should I keep going? A ripple effect. A week after the People's Gala, the world was still buzzing. News outlets covered the event as a groundbreaking moment in Hollywood philanthropy. Social media was flooded with stories of people who had attended, single moms who found support, struggling artists who made connections, even former skeptics who admitted they'd never ever seen a charity event feel so real. But what truly surprised Sandra was what came next. She was sitting on her patio, enjoying her morning coffee when her phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. Unknown. Hey Sandra, it's Oprah. Call me when you get a chance. Sandra nearly choked on her coffee. Oprah? The Oprah, she muttered, scrambling to dial the number. Oprah picked up after the first ring. Sandra, girl, what you and Keanu did was genius. Sandra laughed nervously. Thanks. It was kinda last minute. Well, you just turned the charity world upside down. Oprah said, and now everyone wants in. Sandra frowned. Wait. What do you mean? I mean, you've inspired something bigger, Oprah said. Since the People's Gala, we've seen businesses offering real community support. A-list actors are rethinking how they donate. Even international charities are reworking their models to be more inclusive. Sandra's mouth dropped open. Are you serious? Dead serious, Oprah said, which is why I have a proposal. How would you and Keanu like to take this movement global? Sandra blinked. Global. Like a world tour of giving. Oprah explained. Instead of exclusive fundraisers in ballrooms, you do pop-up events in different countries. You work directly with people who need help, local charities, grassroots movements, real impact. And I want to help you do it. Sandra sat back, stunned. Wow, that's huge. Well, you and Keanu started something huge, Oprah said. So what do you say? Sandra hesitated for a second, then smiled. Let me talk to Keanu, but something tells me he'll say yes. The Keanu response. Sandra found Keanu at his usual spot, an old bookstore in downtown LA. She walked in past the shelves of worn paperbacks and spotted him in the back, flipping through a philosophy book. She plopped down in the chair across from him. So we might be taking this worldwide? Keanu raised an eyebrow. We? Sandra grinned. Oprah called me. Keanu chuckled. Of course she did. She wants us to take the People's Gala concept global, like a tour of giving, Sandra explained. Different countries, real people, real impact. We work directly with communities instead of just throwing fancy events. Keanu closed his book, considering. That's actually a great idea. I know, right? Sandra leaned forward. So are you in? Keanu gave her a slow, knowing smile. Let's do it, Sandra grinned. I knew you'd say that. The first stop, Brazil. 2 months later, Sandra and Keanu found themselves in Rio de Janeiro, standing in a small but lively community center surrounded by children, volunteers, and local leaders. Unlike Hollywood charity events, there were no flashing cameras or red carpets, just real people coming together to support one another. Sandra helped paint a mural with a group of kids while Keanu quietly sat with an elderly man, listening to his life story. And as they watched the impact unfold before them, they both knew this was just the beginning. To be continued. What do you think? Should they go to more countries?